FGC Job Squad, your premier Tekken podcast.
Hey everyone, this is Job Squad number 25. I'm your host, Kadar, aka Kadizi, and I'm here with my co-host Ian, aka Pickle. What's up, Ian?
What's up, dude?
And we got a special guest today. We got the one and only, the loudest, one of the loudest in the scene. Everyone knows him. We got Pokchop. Thank you for coming on, Pokchop. How are you doing, man?
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
What's up, man? I feel like we've been trying to get you on for a while, and thank you for telling us yes, but not yet, and finally we got you on. So,
no problem. It's just been busy, man. Just been busy, and just stuff been happening,
Yeah. So I think we got a little time, but all right, Ian. So we start this with Ian. What was your first encounter with Pokchop? I feel like everyone has a first encounter or first time they heard of him. What's yours, Ian?
What was it? SCR 2017. I think the first year for T7 on console. You were there. You remember? We went to I think it was in Anaheim, was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pokchop, you were doing. I mean, you usually do this at every tournament. You do your money matches, right? And at the time, I was pretty damn broke. I think I was offering like $5 money matches, and you were kind of looking at me like, what the hell is this dude? Offering $5 for a money match, on a stick of gum, but.
You were like $5. I remember that.
I was just, I was a fan, so I just wanted to, any chance that I can get to play someone that I'm, that I like watching on stream, then I'll take it. So that was the first time I played you. I think you took my lunch money there, but still a fun experience.
I remember that tournament. You had the rubber chicken thrown at you on stage. I was there.
So that's the one.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think before that, the first time I heard of Pokchop was the Real Law and Pokchop, grudge matches or whatever. Those are like, maybe 2014, like the early T7 builds. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I gotta start going to tournaments more. Like that was like, this guy's crazy, but they're having fun. It's nothing like, super serious. No one's getting their feelings hurt. But they're just, talking trash, wiping the sweat off his head and stuff like that. That's a crew. So you definitely inspired me to be like, okay, I need to start going to stuff and get good so I can actually get hype like this. So we always start these shows with the basis of it all. So I want to know how you got into games before competitive gaming. How did you get into games in general, video games?
Well, I believe everybody has their story when if they have older siblings or older cousins, they wouldn't let you play when you was little. So that's definitely how it started with me. I used to watch my older brothers and my cousin. They played Nintendo all the time. They used to play the Duck Hunt. They'd play some kind of card game where it's overhead. It's an overhead card game, and they go. It's always up, down, or left or right. And you had to dodge the cars or whatever. I used to watch them play that, and then they had a game called Dodgeball, and they left the game on one day and went in the kitchen, and I picked up the controller and started playing. And then I ran into them like, hey, I'm trying to learn how to throw the frisbee. You won't let me throw the frisbee. So they came back. They was like, what you doing? So I showed them that I could actually play the game. And they, first time ever touching the game, they was surprised. And it was like, wow, then ever since then, they started letting me play the games. I think I was like 5 or 6. That was 30 years ago. So
just a prodigy, like right away.
Right away, just from watching.
For sure. So then from there, you just started playing fighting games with your brothers and stuff like that, or
the very first fighting game I ever played, I believe it should have been Mortal Kombat. No, it was Street Fighter. I believe it was Street Fighter 2. It was between Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat on Super Nintendo. That's my very first fighting game. What was I, like 7 or 8, I believe, when that came out? That was my very first fighting game. And I was playing my cousin then, and my brothers. I didn't start playing them into fighting games until like I was a little bit older. But it was definitely probably Street Fighter Turbo, I think, something like that.
For sure. So then we always ask about this. Like, when's that moment that you were like, okay, I really like fighting games? Do you remember like just that point for you where you're like, okay, this is my favorite genre or something like that? Or maybe it might have been way later than at this point, maybe.
When I first touched Street Fighter. My very first very first game I played was either Mortal Kombat or Street. I believe it was Street. It should have been Street Fighter. So Street Fighter was my very first game. As far as competing, as far as being a little neighborhood competitor, that definitely was it. So I that's when I learned that I had a love for fighting games.
Do you remember your first characters for these games, like for Street Fighter?
Ryu and Ken. Ryu and Ken. Yeah, Ryu and Ken for Street Fighter. Well, no, it was Ryu. And for Mortal Kombat, it was Sub-Zero.
For sure. Did you grow up in Atlanta?
Oh yeah. I grew up in Atlanta.
How was that? I mean, just growing up there and being a kid in Atlanta and stuff like that. I think other than Jackie Tran, you're probably like the first actual person from Atlanta we've talked to. So.
Oh, my boy Tran. Here in Atlanta, back then it was either you was in the streets or you was basically playing games. Back then, no, not even so much of games, because it's like either you was in the streets or you was in school. And for me, I chose the different path of not being in the streets, and I pretty much stayed home most of the time. And what kept me home was playing video games. So that kept me out of the streets.
Yeah, we talked to Uncle Caps, and that's like he said, that's one of the main things that kept him out of as much trouble as he could have gotten was games.
Yeah,
that's a huge theme for sure, man. All right.
Now that was the thing for the '80s babies, man. 80s kids, either you was at home playing games or playing, if you was outside, you was playing basketball or football, trying your best to stay out of the street life.
Right. Okay. Well, when did you first get introduced to FGC, or when did you first hear about, okay, people play this game for real? Maybe at arcade or something like that, or do you remember your first interaction with hearing about the FGC?
Well, I didn't know there was an FGC until probably a little bit over 20 years ago. I say probably it's been about 22 years now. When I first learned about the Atlanta scene, FGC. I mean, I knew that there was a scene, but as far as the community-wise, I didn't learn that until my first tournament, which was Final Round 6. That was my very first tournament, and that's when I learned about the scene, and that's when I actually took off and started, wanting to compete and in tournaments and stuff.
What year was Final Round 6?
Whew.
It's like 2010s, 11s, around there, right?
No, way before that. Like 2003, 2004.
Oh,
Final Round been around a very long time.
Okay.
Yeah, the very first Final Round was like maybe 98, 99 or something like that.
That's crazy.
Oh, I thought you said Final Round for Tekken 6. My bad, I confused it with. I thought you were saying.
Oh no, my very first competitive Tekken was Tekken 4.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So wow, that's crazy. Yeah, Final Round is a long legacy. I always forget that. There's some of those tournaments that just been around for like Texas Showdown, probably not around as long as, but you just forget that some of these have been around for forever. But
I think Final Round has been maybe was the oldest running tournament next to maybe next to like one of Big E events, but maybe even but it's definitely older than Evo. Matter of fact, it was around before Evo was even Evo. What was the name of it? I forgot the original name of Evo, but
yeah, Battle by the Bay.
I want to say that was that it.
Yeah, Battle by the Bay. I mean,
okay, yeah,
that's what we've been told at least. But okay. Do you remember what are your first memories from that first tournament, Final Round 6?
It was at a recreation center. It was at a rec center, and this one I learned that top buttons were banned, and I had to learn how to play without the top buttons, literally on the spot at the tournament.
Oh, and you had to learn how to claw?
I had to learn how to claw on the spot. Like, that was my first time ever trying to claw, and I got pretty far in the tournament. I want to say I may have gotten top. I don't think I got top 8 my very first tournament, but I probably got like top 16 or something like that. I got really far from my very first tournament.
Yeah, that's really good. Is it Tekken 4, right?
Tekken 4. Mm-hmm.
Well, who'd you play in Tekken 4?
I played Brian and Law. Brian
Okay,
and Law was my characters in that Tekken. But for the tournament, I played Brian. For final round, I played Brian.
How were those characters in that game? Because you always hear about Tekken 4, but we're always hearing about the broken characters, and I never really hear Law and Brian being mentioned. Really? Even those two?
Well, no, Law wasn't broken. I just love Law. But I mean, you gotta realize when Tekken 4 was coming out, I mean, we wasn't that good back then. You know, we don't know what we knew now. But Law was pretty good, with his DSS. But Brian was really good. I personally believe he could fight T4 Jin to a certain extent because of parry. But Nina was broken. Of course, everybody knows Jin was broken. Kuma was broken to a certain extent. Kuma had a 100% combo.
Really? The bear?
Yeah. You get, I think it was 4-4-2 to his unblockable. Yeah. That junk was pretty cheap. It was pretty cheap.
So what'd you like about Tekken 4? We've had people come on and say, you know, it wasn't the most well-liked. It had a lot of jank systems and stuff like that. Man. But for you, is it like your first one that you kind of overlooked all that stuff or what?
Man, Tekken 4 was... man, that game there, man. I'm just glad that those dark days are over. Those were some dark times, man.
For sure. So you were pretty excited for Tekken 5. I mean, what else happened during Tekken 4? What was the most memorable thing that happened during Tekken 4?
For me, well, I mean, my very first final round. Because at that time, that was the last... When final round came about for me, that was the last year for T4. So T5 came out later on that year. So as far as... It was pretty much over for me. When it was pretty much over after final round. Because T5 came out.
Gotcha. So how'd you hear about tournaments back in this time? Was it you just go on the internet or flyers or some shit or what?
Oh, internet. What's that? I don't even. Did they have? I mean, we had internet back then, but I mean, SRK was. That's when SRK was big and popular. No, I heard about. I was introduced from one of my friends, Iceman. He took me to my very first tournament. And that's who pretty much brought me into the FGC.
Man, that's an ATL name right there, Iceman.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's after the superhero or some shit, right? But
nah, I doubt it. I don't. Nah, nah. He didn't get it. He doesn't have it from that term.
Oh, okay, that's tight. That's awesome. Yeah. So people who got you into this, yeah, talk about that. Who was getting you into the scene? Just people you knew just from around the way.
Yeah, people I knew from the arcades. Because I started going to the arcade at Underground Atlanta when I was about 14. No, I was 15. I was 15 when I first started going to Underground Atlanta, the arcades that was down there. And everybody, I didn't know that it was a lot of people playing Tekken back then. There was a lot of people playing Tekken, and this was right before Tekken 4 came out. I was playing Tag. I was playing Tekken Tag, and no, was Tekken 4 already out? I believe Tekken 4. No. I can't exactly remember was Tekken 4 out yet. But I know I was playing Tag 1. And I mean I was getting beat to a pulp. But, you know, me and my cousin, that's who pretty much introduced me into Tekken. And he told me that it used to be a group, it'd be a lot of a big group of people that play Tekken, that play Street Fighter, all those fighting games, and Underground Arcade, but I was never old enough to go down there. But when I turned 15, you know, they didn't never ask me for ID because I looked like I looked older than what I was. So I just go down there, and that's when I met, you know, those people, you know, and they, you know, I just started playing in the arcades. And back then, you had to learn how to play on stick. You had to play stick in order to play, you know.
Right, on arcade machines.
Right. So it just went from there. You know, once I started playing, people realized, oh, this kid here is pretty good. You know, he has potential. And then, you know, Iceman, like I say, he introduced me to some people. And then I started going over to their houses and playing on console. And it just took off from there. I started getting better. And by that time, like I say, that's why I got so good at. That's why I played so high at final round, my first final round, because I was already playing some of the OGs back then. Back then, I was playing some of the OGs. and actually getting games off of them, beating them, and playing for money. I mean, that's how I got so good too, because I used to lose so much money to where I had to force myself to get better.
Right, yeah. Arcades sound just ruthless, man. Just all the quarters you'd be losing. Like I wasn't around for the arcade times, but man, that sounds scary.
I had no idea, man. I used to spend my whole check. My check would be like $30, $40 back then, and I spent it in the arcade that one day. I had to wait another 2 weeks before I had to get some more money.
Oh man, what was the arcade scene like back at that arcade? You remember any names that you remember?
Yeah. You had Clint the Beast. You had Big Boy, who's big. He's a big name in Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had Big Boy. You had CPU. He was one of the best. He might have been considered one of the best thieves in 5.0. He actually beat Crow in Atlanta. He was beating him. Yeah, not too many people know about him. But yeah, you also had Dumb ATL. Rest in peace to him. He was one of the first Americans to beat a Korean in T4 at Evo. Matter of fact. And then he used to come down to the arcade all the time. Tran, not so much. I didn't meet Tran until like final round 7 or 8. No, it was final round 7 when T5 came out. That's when I first met Tran. I didn't even know he was standing in Atlanta. But because you had your different arcade scenes. And then you had Anakin, who he would be at the North DeKalb Mall arcade. Man, you just had so many scenes back then, man. Had so many crews and scenes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think one thing we heard was it Aurario's dad had an arcade, right? Did you ever go to that one?
I never met him, but I by the time I came into the scene, I believe did he had already leave? He might have already left when I came into the scene.
Right, for SoCal. Okay.
Did all those people you mentioned, did they all come up with you, or were you like one of the youngest ones?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
I said, did all those people come up with you, or were you like one of the youngest guys and newest guys to the scene? Like, were these guys already established back then, or were they also coming up like around the same time as you?
The established players was Clint. He was definitely established. Everybody used to talk about Anakin, saying that it's a kid was really good. So I guess you could say that he was already established. CPU was already established. This guy named Bane, he was one of the best missions I've ever seen in my life back then. He was already established. Then you had Truth, ATL Truth. He was established. Yeah, K-Gun, he was established. All these guys that I'm mentioning are like super OGs. So they were already established in the scene then.
That's cool. What some of the coolest stories we've gotten, from people at the arcade from SoCal, SoCal stories is just chaotic shit happening at the arcade. Any crazy chaotic shit happening at the arcade?
Nah. Nothing chaotic.
Safe? Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely safe, Outside of of course you have people who you have your what we call trap spots. You have your trap spots down there, where somebody come down there, selling some weed or something like that. I mean, of course you had that, but other than it being chaotic, nah, it wasn't like that. I mean, he had a brawl. I mean, you had a fight here and there, but nothing too bad.
For sure. All right, so you said that final round 6 was, Tekken 4's last tournament. Were you looking forward to Tekken 5 at that point?
I didn't even know it was coming out until it came out. You know what I'm saying? So back then, I didn't care what I was playing. I just wanted to play. I wanted to get better. I wanted to be the best, one of the best in the scene. That's all I was doing. I didn't care what game I was playing. I'm playing it.
You play a lot of Marvel too, right?
Yeah, I played Marvel 2, but I wasn't that competitive in Marvel 2 until like maybe final round 7. Final round 7. I mean, I was competitive in it my first final round, but I wasn't that good. I actually got a stick. I had got me a Moss stick. I'm pretty sure y'all know about that. I mean, that's Cali. That's Cali all the way. But yeah, I had got a Moss stick, and that's when I wanted to start competing in Marvel. So Marvel was my second competitive game, but Tekken was my first.
Damn. So like, so you said you hung out with people, you played on console and stuff. What was your practice regimen? You said you got a Moss stick and stuff like that. Were you just going online and reading stuff? And
there was no online.
Okay.
There was no online. Yeah, it was so VHS tapes. That was basically our internet. If somebody recorded, you have it on VHS tape. I had some of the Evos, so I would pop that in and I watch some of the stuff that Sumati was doing, Ricky Ortiz, Justin Wong. I don't think Yipes was here back. I mean, I don't think he was. Was he playing back then? But I know I was watching Stanford Kelly, some of Chris Matrix, some of the really big names. But back then, those guys, old school guys, So
anything notable from watching those those tapes? Like anything that made you feel like, oh, I thought I knew the game, but then I saw this player, and then kind of opened your eyes a bit. Like anything like that happen?
No, because that was. I mean, I had one of the best players in the South here. I mean, you had CPU, you had 50 More Cent, Clint the Beast, who was a monster he's a monster too at Marvel vs. Capcom. I mean EVC too. He's a monster himself. But those three guys were the top three in Georgia, and then Mix Up would be the only person that could beat them. Anybody else could not beat CPU. They couldn't beat 50 More Cent, and they couldn't beat Clint was. They could beat Clint because he didn't compete in it. He only played for money when he know he could beat somebody. But he was pretty darn good.
All right. Okay. So, when was your first time you traveled out of state for a major? Do you remember?
MLG. The first MLG that had Tekken 6. What was that? 2009. I think it was 2009. That was my first out of town tournament. It was MLG Orlando. Oh man. First it was being held. I believe it was being held at. What was that stadium name? It was somewhere. I can't remember the stadium name. But you had free Doritos, you had free Hot Pockets. Man, they had controllers for you. The first time the 3 out of 5 had been introduced throughout the whole tournament. Like, man, it was just so much fun, man. That's when I first met Aries. First met at the time his name was Mr. Naps. But the Jimmy J Tran, first met him. First met Jay Chinoy, John Choi. I mean, not John Choi. JT Chinoy. First met him. Let's see who else. I met a lot of the West Coast people. Met a lot of them. It wasn't the first time I met Jim. We had already met at KIT. So, but Fab and all of them, they came. First time meeting. What's his name? DJ Core. Man, it's just first time meeting some of the top players that I didn't even know they were top players back then.
Yeah, we get that a lot where, back then you're just kicking with people and they, end up becoming, these big names. That's crazy. So at that point, were you all in on Tekken? Is that just your main competitive game at this point and you're just grinding Tekken?
It is. Yeah, as far as all in on Tekken, I've never been all in on Tekken because I always play something else. But if Tekken was the only thing that if that's the only game that they was having that I played, then yeah, I'll be all in on that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've never gone to a tournament and only just played Tekken, except for MLG.
I've seen you enter like Street Fighter tournaments, right? When you go to a certain tournament, you enter Street Fighter and Tekken.
Yeah. Yeah, I've entered Street Fighter, Tekken,
MK
Marvel
as
3,
well, right? Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
How do you practice multiple games at once? Is it just like whatever you feel like?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't even practice. Back then we had the crews. We played everything. I mean, literally everything. That's the thing about the ATL crew. We don't play just one game. We play Soul Calibur. We play Street Fighter. We play Tekken. We play Marvel. We play Gears of War whenever we felt like playing that. Like, man, it's crazy. Whenever we felt like playing that day, we'll play for a couple of hours, then we'll pop games in. Like, we just be talking so much trash and be like, oh, I'm drilling you in this, but you can't do that in Mortal Kombat. Oh, we'll pop it in MK. Oh, I'm drilling you in MK. Oh, you can't do that in Marvel. We pop in Marvel. Vice versa. We play so many games and we were good at it.
I'm out here getting overwhelmed with 2 fighting games, dude. I can only do 1 at a time.
Man, I'd be bored with 2 fighting games, man.
Was the ATL crew always playing at one spot, growing up, or what?
Yeah, like we had our crews. Like you had the East Point crew. That's the crew that I came up playing with. That consists of Emmy Red ATL, Iceman, Big Boy. Well, Clint was part of a couple of crews, but then you had CPU, who was also a part of a lot of crews. Then you had Wing Zero. Rest in peace to him. He was one of the best Nina players ever to live this earth.
So I got a question. So if a newer ATL player asks you what's different about ATL now compared to, let's say, maybe 15 years ago, what would you say to them? Like what's the difference?
Man, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but it's soft, man.
Why is it soft?
I mean, it's just soft. I mean, they complain. It's just so much complaints going on,
For sure. I think I think most scenes could probably relate to that. I've heard that from a lot of old held heads.
Yeah.
People are sensitive. People can't take a little joke here and there anymore.
All right, yeah. But also the competitiveness. It's they're not as hungry as we were. Man, we would kill to have a monthly.
Right.
We didn't even really have that until I started running. Until me, myself, Iceman, and Magnicious at the time, we wasn't even having monthlies until we started doing them. We had Atlanta Revival. That was our monthlies. That actually what got the scene a whole lot better too. But until we started doing that, man, we didn't even we had final round once a year. That was the only tournament that we had. Now we have a tournament. We have 2 tournaments every week in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Every week, and people are not even really coming out. I mean, I'm like, bro, y'all don't have the hunger. Nobody want to travel. We used to travel an hour and a half to 2 hours to Alabama to play those guys, and vice versa. They used to come play us. Majin used to travel. Lil Majin, Big Majin, and Shinblade. They used to travel to Alabama to play in those tournaments, and we traveled there too. That was like the central ground. We used to travel to those tournaments just to play every single month, man. Like I say, now it's just the scene is not hungry, man. They're not hungry. The online has really spoiled a lot of people. Like, oh, I ain't got to go nowhere. So now they've gotten lazy, and the competitiveness has really.
I was gonna mention. I think that's what has to do with like the drive of the scene is that a lot of these new players are coming up with online. They're online players, and then all of a sudden they now have to drive out 30-40 minutes just to play a few matches. They might go 0-2 versus they could do infinite amount of matches at home. I see why it's died down, but it just sucks because it doesn't really breed like a strong player base if that's like the attitude, not putting any effort.
And we had so many players here. Like we went to ML I believe it was MLG Rally. We took 16 players up to MLG Rally. 16. We all rode in a van, and out of the 16, about 13 or 14 of us got top 24.
Okay.
Wow.
And out of top 8, it was 5 of us.
That's crazy.
That's how strong we were, and that's how strong our scene was. And matter of fact, I can name the players. And like I got, what did I get? I want to say I got like third.
What
did
game?
I get third? No, this is Tekken. This is Tekken 6.
Okay.
Let's see. I know Anakin was there. I believe Anakin got third. It was Nin, Ni, Anakin. Then it was me. Then it was MIC. Then it was Big Boy. What is that? 4 of us? Who's the 5th? I know Clint got in it. No, Clint didn't get top that tournament. I can't remember who got I think that was it. 4 of us got top 8.
That's like a way stronger scene, I guess, than now, because that's what it sounds like. Is what you're trying to say, right?
Oh yeah, way like the OGs now we are pretty much teaching the newer generation. So, but they definitely getting there. They're getting there. It's just the hunger, man. The players that are now winning, they're coming out all the time. That's why they're winning, because they always coming. They always playing. They're trying to stay active. But
what do you think is like obviously showing up, I think, is what you're gonna say. But like, you think that's the biggest ingredient to like taking that next step, showing up in person and that kind of stuff?
Not only showing up in person, but to play. Like you come and play. Now, if you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose, but come and play.
Yeah.
Definitely showing up is definitely the number one thing that you need to do. Show up and play.
Yeah, I'm always curious. Like, what do you think was it for you that really made you, I guess, improve in Tekken? Was it just being consistent at it? Like, what exactly do you think was, I guess, like the reason for why you ended up getting so good at Tekken over the years?
Because I didn't want to lose
That's
money.
what it was.
that is definitely the reason why I got so good. Because I went from being an ATM to being the one that was going in the ATM.
That's what's up. All right, so earlier you said for a second that you started a local. How recent was, or not, but a tournament series, monthly or whatever. But what was your experience being a TO at that time?
Being a TO at that time, I mean, this was right before. It was actually quite some time before Tekken 6 came out, so it was like, it was 2005 or 6 or something like that. It was fun. I should say it was fun because we used to get like over 200-300 people coming to play. I mean, that's just, not to play per game, but we have like a 64-man bracket, 80-man bracket for Tekken or something like that. That was just normal.
How'd you guys secure the space?
But,
do you remember how you secured the space?
We would get us a room at the Georgia World Congress Center that was big enough to handle all those people. So we went from renting out a B&B to going to getting hotel ballrooms to getting rooms at the Georgia World Congress Center.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of work. I mean, it's more work than people think, right?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is a lot of work.
You're not making money. I think that's the biggest misconception is people think TOs are making money off getting a ballroom and stuff like that, paying up front, all that stuff.
Oh no, let's not say that. Okay, doing monthlies, like how we were. I want to say we probably was making, but it was two of us at the time, so we were splitting probably like $500. Okay. We were split that, so probably making like $250 off of profit, which is not a lot of money. All right, now you got to think about what these TOs are getting now. All right, so you're charging $100 for per person to come in, and you're getting like a couple of thousands of people to come in, right? Let's just say 2,000 people. That's 2,000 times 100. That's $200,000. Not to mention you have people who are sponsoring your event for you just to say, hey, I want you to have this banner up. Okay, that's fine. What you gonna give me for it? I'll pay for 10% of your ballroom or whatever. Man, these TOs are definitely making money now.
Okay.
Back then, I could say probably wasn't. It's a possibility it wasn't. But now that you got sponsors and everybody putting in money for these tournaments, they're definitely making money.
The bigger ones.
So that conception of, and I know the back end. I know the behind the scenes story. I've been there, so I definitely know that these TOs are making money.
For sure. How long did your tournament series or like your monthly go for?
From quite some time actually, for a couple of years, maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Okay, for sure. That's what's up, man. Like that's badass. A lot of people people should try to be a TO once. I tried it once, and it was definitely harder than I thought back in Minnesota, but it's something I want to do again. But I give.
Hey, it's something that you have to be dedicated to. I set out for these monthlies to make the scene better because we only had one tournament, and I wanted people to get better, and that's what I set out to do, and that's what I contribute to the scene. I want to bring people from all over Georgia together. And what ended up happening, people from out of Georgia started coming. People from Florida, people from Tennessee, people from Alabama, the Carolinas. They all would come out because, hey, look at this tournament here.
Yeah.
There's a tournament. We don't have anything here. Let's go there. And that's when that's how we end up meeting crews like the Alabama crew, like Nice One, Street Fighter player, Mac Negro, Red Zo, Soul Calibur crews. But yeah.
Damn, that's what's up. What do you got, Ian?
I was gonna ask. That's pretty cool that you were doing that. Just to help, I guess, improve the scene for. And it's like more like a long-term effect they were aiming for, right? But did you inspire anybody else to maybe start hosting tournaments for themselves, like any new TOs that started maybe coming up?
Well, then you end up Gwinnett Brawl ended up taking our spot. I guess we probably inspired them to do tournaments because they based out of Gwinnett County, further north than Atlanta. So they started doing their tournaments, and that pretty much they took over from Atlanta Revival. And then from there we end up getting 4-4 Esports. So I want to say we probably did inspire somebody to do tournaments, but I don't want to say that we did and we actually didn't. So
For sure.
But it was being done. It was definitely being done. Some of those people who were coming to Atlanta Revival, they started Gwinnett Brawl. So I mean, it's possible. I probably did inspire.
For sure. All right. Do you ever remember your first Evo?
What was it? 2000? It might have been 2017. My first sponsor. The first year when I first got sponsored, it might have been 2017. It was the first year that they had Tekken 7 on console.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to piece together. I feel like there's that older footage of you online, around Tag 2 era and stuff like that. Were you excited for Tag 2 when that came out? Not at all. You're not a Tag fan?
I'm not a Tag fan whatsoever. Tekken Tag 2 was one of my most hated Tekkens next to Tekken 4. Well, first it was Tekken Tag 2, then it was Tekken 4. But Tekken 7 has now taken that place. So
what was it about Tag 2 that you didn't like?
First of all, I hated that I had to play two characters.
Right.
I was a Bruce main, and that's all I played was Bruce. From Tekken 5.0 to the end of Tekken 6, that's all I played was Bruce. So that was a good 10 to 12 years that I only played Bruce. I didn't play no other character. I
figured you'd be more versatile since you're so open to playing so many fighting games. Maybe you play a bunch of different characters.
Nah, Tekken was my main game. That was my baby. Tekken was my baby.
Yeah.
I did play a lot of games, but Tekken was my baby. And in Marvel vs. Capcom, I had to. You were forced to learn those characters. You were forced to learn those characters.
Right.
Street Fighter, I only played one character. Street Fighter 4, I only play Abel.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. I feel that was one of the biggest issues for most people in Tag 2. Like some players that you saw who were really good in previous Tekken, just Tag 2 did not click because it's so hard to force somebody to pick a new character and make them catch up to their main. Like I don't think most people, even in the lifespan of Tag 2, where you would actually play at their best because their side character is just like half of what their main character was. Except for the people who play maybe the the double characters, right? Double leads and all that stuff. But
the double characters, they had it easy. The Zaoyus and the Lees. Oh my god,
Jacks.
Wow. Oh yeah, double jacks, double laws.
Machine players are all right. Yeah.
Easy.
So did you just suffer through the whole Tag 2 time? Or?
Actually, the real law thing happened with Tag 2. That's how the story began.
Yeah, what happened with that? Because I'm going to say that.
Yeah, how'd that start?
I was supposed to be what was that? Winter Brawl was my first. Winter Brawl was my first Big E tournament, and Big E was like, "Shoot, man, I want to throw a little exhibition. You down?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down." I was supposed to have been playing Blood Red. That's who I was supposed to have been playing originally, but he didn't show, so I ended up playing Real Law.
Oh, so there was nothing between you guys before that, then?
Wow, no, that was no beef.
I didn't need beef. I thought there was something like some friendship or something prior, like some type of rivalry or something.
That was actually my first. I think that might have been my first. No, was that my first time? No, that wasn't my first time meeting him. But it was just my first interaction with him, and we both was talking trash. And I said, "Dog, do you know who you talking to?" He said, "Okay, who I'm talking to?" I said, "Dog, I'm finna show you real quick who you talking to." And oh my god, I did not know I was gonna beat him that bad. I told him.
When you hit him with that unblockable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was having so much fun, and it makes it so bad. That Tekken was the Tekken that I had Bruce. Of course I knew how to play Brian because it was easy. Back one was the bound. I mean, it was easy to easy to play with him. But see, when I played him in Tekken 7, that was that video is literally my first time playing Tekken 7. That was my first time ever touching the game. So I didn't know how to play Josie. There was no Bruce, of course.
Wow.
I didn't know what I was learning combos as I was playing him right then.
You didn't even watch footage of the game like when it was out in real.
No footages,
That's
nothing.
insane.
Matter of fact, if you see me, I'm talking on the side. The guy that was sitting next to me was Turkeezy. I was talking to him. He was telling me, "Hey, do this for the combo. Back 2-1-4. Do that, and then run up and do whatever." That I was literally learning right then and there.
Damn, that changed the whole video for me.
I mean, it's funny.
Right, if I knew how to play the game, I would have 5-0'd him.
It's funny, because during the you can hear the commentators. I think it's Eris, saying, "Oh, they're dropping in the combos," but it was like early build. It was understandable, but it's funny how that's an iconic match, even though it's drop combos and it's like the earliest build of Tekken. Like that's like a top 10 match somehow. It's too good. But yes. So can you talk about just the crew getting hyped up at tournaments and stuff like that? Like, where does that come from? Because I'm sure, like, you can say like it's you guys in Korn, ATL crew and Korn. You guys are like the loudest, right? Where does that come from? Just being rowdy and stuff like that? Like
stuff we used to do to Korn.
You know what's funny? We had Uncle Caps on this show, and he said the first time he met you that you whooped his ass. And
yeah, I want to hear your side of the story on that.
I don't even remember.
Damn, it was that free then, huh?
Yeah. Listen, man. Everybody used to come and get it, man. I didn't even know he talked trash back then.
Damn.
I mean, that's how bad we was beating people, man. That's how bad we was beating people.
So where's that? Is that just always arcade? Is that the arcade culture that just carried over?
Yeah, is that an ATL thing?
Yeah, that's the arcade culture. That's an ATL. Well, it's definitely an ATL thing. Like the ATL scene, you had to have tough skin. Like you really had to have tough skin because man, you'd be losing so bad and get talked about so bad. Oh my god, man! Like there have been a couple of fights from trash talk. I'm not gonna say it hasn't been, but it been like a quick little tussle. But man, the stuff I've done, man. When Tekken 6 was in his early age. There's a story between me and Clint. I was playing Clint and I was destroying bears. I was beating him so bad and talking so much trash. Clint got up, grabbed the bill ball and said, "Man, you say one more thing, I'm gonna bust you upside your head." Man, I laughed so hard, but I stopped talking trash. I stopped talking for a good 20 minutes. But man, everybody in the house is laughing so hard. Because see, Clint was the top dog. He wasn't used to losing. And I was beating him so bad that day, man. And man, I never forget that, man. That was like one of my proudest and funniest moments that I've ever experienced playing Tekken.
It's like you guys talk so much shit to each other. Once you get to the tournament, you got each other's backs at that point, right?
Man, listen, man. Well, how we used to treat our homeboys, you can only imagine how we used to treat our outsider. But we never was disrespectful. It was always in the game, about the game, and that's where it stayed, in the game. After we get through playing, we would go up to me, "Hey, this is what you need to be doing. You wasn't doing this. You wasn't throwing enough. Hey, this is negative. That's punishable. That's not safe." We always gave advice after we were trash.
So where does the CPR mid match and wiping sweat, like that shit is like Three Stooges, like top level tier comedy.
Oh,
like you guys are doing you guys are acting out like a whole scene, but you got one person play Tekken. Like, where's that come from?
Man, that was light. That wasn't even like you should see some of the stuff we be doing in the house, but that was light. Man. Hey man, I'm a nutcase, man. I'm a nutcase. I don't even remember sometimes I don't remember some of the stuff I even said or even did until I watched the video. I'm like, oh, I did that. Oh, okay. Well, why did I do that? It's not even something that I think about. I just be acting out, having fun.
Yeah. No, it's good.
I feel like people can recognize that too. That's why you're such a fan favorite for most people on stream, because they know that you guys are authentic. That's the energy that you guys bring every single time, and it's like. You just never know. You never know what's gonna happen with Pokchop, but you know that it's gonna be family friendly and funny. It's gonna be good.
Like I said, the SCR thing where someone threw a rubber chicken and then and then the other one.
Oh man, okay, that was preordained. Okay, he said if I know Round Brown, JFJ, he would throw the chicken up there. I don't know why I didn't catch it, but I told him, yeah, let me get that chicken. Throw me the chicken. Throw me the chicken. Because at first I told him, I said, nah, I ain't gonna do that, man. If I beat Just Frank James, I'll be lucky to beat him. Because I mean, this was Tekken 7. Tekken 6, I wouldn't have no kind of problem. Yeah. But Tekken 7, I didn't have the faith because I don't have my character. So, but when I beat him, I was like, hey, throw me that chicken that you were talking about. Throw me the chicken. Say, yeah, let me get this chicken.
It's like he's choking his chicken. That shit was like on different levels.
Yeah, that's the whole. Yeah.
And with you and John Ding, I remember you were standing up, staring at the camera, and then you sat down and then you guys both started rocking together. I was like, oh my god, this is funny shit.
Oh my god, John Ding, man. That's one guy who I haven't avenged my death from. I haven't avenged my death from John Ding or Chanel. I have avenged it for Take. I avenged it for Saint. But those two, I gotta get them to. They stole wins from me.
And they both rocked on you, right?
Especially Chanel. Oh, Chanel did the rock on me. Oh my god. Chanel did the rock on me and John Ding. I said, golly. But John Ding is my favorite. This is my favorite Korean, and definitely Chanel is the next person. Like those two, man, those are my favorite guys.
I know earlier you were saying that Tekken 7's your next least favorite game, but it seems like you had a lot of fun.
Least favorite.
Seems like a lot of fun though, just from what spectators would see. It seemed like you had a lot of fun. You got notoriety, E-League, which we'll talk about in a second, and stuff like that. But can you talk about what when did you start hating on Tekken? Was it more recent DLC stuff or from the jump?
No, I was hating on Tekken back then. Y'all just didn't know it.
Okay, why is that?
I've been hating on Tekken since release, man. Supers and Armor, 2D characters. Like I never liked that idea. I knew when they announced Akuma, I knew that it was going to be a problem because I was like, what are they going to do about these lows? Because those lows are going to be start combos. I told everybody that in the scene. I said, hey, something's not going to be right with Akuma, man, because his lows are going to start combos. And I'll be doggone, they added in the FGC Focus Dash Cancel. Yeah. They added that into the game. Oh my god! And man, I called it right on the money. I didn't think that Geese would be a problem.
Oh man!
I knew Akuma was going to be a problem, and I'll be doggone, Geese was a problem too.
Damn.
Like I never liked that idea because, first of all, it promoted a lot of swinging with armor moves. Like not all characters had good armor moves, which made me mad. And then the supers. Oh my god, the supers, man! All it did was promote losing. That's all it does.
Like the rage arts. What about Rage Drive? Rage Drive is pretty cool.
I hate rage drives too because you got rage drives. Some rage drives take more than the supers.
Balanced. You're right. Some characters have really good ones.
Right, like Katarina. Why does her rage drive alone take 30%? It doesn't scale. You can hit the wall, and she will take the rest of your life bar. If you have 20, if you have 30 or 35%, that rage drive, it doesn't scale.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Even off the wall, it doesn't scale.
It's like the King rage drive, right? It does the same thing. Kind of puts them on the floor, and then you get a big hit off of it.
Oh, let's not even talk about that, Chuck.
Yeah.
Shh. Like you get a throw attempt, or you get the big elbow, and that big elbow takes a lot of life.
Yeah, that's one of the first things that also kind of scared me at first, just watching the game. But I tried avoiding the game until it actually came out, on console, until it was, I guess, ready. Because I viewed the initial releases like almost like a test run of how the game might run, But I figured they're gonna change everything up until they release it on console. So I just tried avoiding the game until it came out, and same thing.
Yeah, that's what I did too. That's why when I played Real Law, that was the first time I ever touched it because they had it at the previous final round. That was the second round that was the second final round that they had Tekken 7. First time they had it, I literally just wait a minute. That was that the first time? Man, I can't even remember, man. That was so long ago.
It's all good.
I think I want to say it might have been at final round twice. I want to say because they were still building the game.
Right. Yeah. They were taking around the arcade build or some shit like that.
Right.
All right. So in Tekken 7, you kept getting I I guess notoriety from just the placements and stuff on stream, the stream matches. Then you got invited to E-League's Team Takedown. So that was pretty awesome. What do you remember about getting invited for that? How'd you get invited for that? That was tight.
Well, when E-League came about, I used to go. I went to all of the E-Leagues for Street Fighter.
Okay.
And the producers used to have to tell me to shut up. They had to come over and say, "Hey, man, you too loud, man."
Was it playful or like Mr. Wizard, rude?
Oh no! It was definitely not no Mr. Wizard type of thing. They came to me. They come like, hey, look, you can make the noise, but not right now. So we'll let you know. Like they loved my energy. They loved it. Like I put out so much energy, and then I also competed in Street Fighter because we'll have a Street Fighter tournament every week for E-League, and then we would go watch. We would go inside and watch the pro players. And so they started having something called Pro Play Joe. Joe meets Pro meets Joe, or Joe meets Pro, or something like that. And I was the last one to play. Somebody said, "Hey, he plays Tekken, but he also plays Street Fighter too." So the person I had to play was Smug, and I surprised Smug. Smug didn't even know I was as good as I was. I played Urine, of course, and it was like, wow, he plays Tekken too. So I believe me being me, I believe that's how they wanted my energy, And then I guess somebody, the crew that was helping them get players or whatever was the Gwinnett Brawl crew, and I think they probably put in the word and was like, hey, he's also an awesome Tekken player. He's done this. So I guess that's probably how I got invited.
Damn. So that was like a type of event. It was on TV, right?
Yeah, it was on TBS.
Yeah, that was like a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity for Tekken. I mean, not too many people were part of it. It was fun to watch. So, like, what are your best memories from like the event itself? I'm sure it was catered and you guys were treated like celebrities, or what? What was the whole deal, or the whole day like?
It was pretty relaxed. When they took us in the back, they had a Mortal. First of all, they had a Mortal Kombat Ultimate cabinet, so I definitely was playing that. But it was pretty much relaxed, man. They had some food in there, had pizza, had fruits, that kind of stuff. They had rooms where you can go and play and practice. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was pretty fun. It wasn't. I don't think it was too out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But
how do you feel about your matches?
They definitely treat us. Man, I suck, man. I didn't win no matches.
You didn't?
No. I didn't beat. I
know you and Jimmy had a really close one, right? You said really.
Yeah, oh my god, man! I'm so disappointed about that. But I had to play Fab to start picking my team. I didn't beat him. Then I had to play Rickster. Of course, I didn't beat Rickster. I mean, he played Akuma. And then my next person I had to play was Jimmy J.
Okay.
And if I just go mid, we win the $10,000 if I go mid.
Oh my goodness.
That still haunts you to this day. If I go mid,
if I go mid, we win the $10,000 because after that, Lil Majin beat him.
Oh man,
right? Yeah.
I'm gonna put the link for that in the description, man. But yeah, no, that was memorable. Wasn't that the Kodakor's team one, right? That was one.
Yeah, that was Kodakor.
We talked to her.
That's when Shadow destroyed everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
I had a good run.
Yeah, we talked to Kodakor. That was a huge tournament for her. So props to her for that. But man, that's dope. So E-League. So were you motivated after E-League, or what was your thought process after E-League? That was kind of still before COVID at that point, 2018.
After that, I was just ready for Evo. I was just ready to compete, But it definitely motivated me to want to beat Naps. It definitely did. Because at the time he was the top dog in the US. Right. He was the one to beat. And watching Majin beat him, I was like, you know what? There's no excuse for me not to be able to get on that level. I mean, for a time, I probably could have gotten on that level, but then they started coming out with other characters, and I love Negan. I love Walking Dead. I had to play Negan, and then they finally came out a Muay Thai character, and that pretty much was. I just hate this game. Because I'm like, you give me the motivation to start back playing Tekken, then you take it away. Because people complaining about online ROM. Fuck them ROM. You complain about the cat. You nerfed him twice, and one of the nerfs was pointless. And I was like, wow, I just don't want to play this game no more. Because it's like every time I enjoy playing it, a nerf end up happening, and I don't want to play it no more.
So I gotta ask. So this is where you're at with Tekken 7, but I feel like when I go to your Twitch stream, in the past week, I feel like you've streamed Tekken 7, right?
Sure. When you see me play Tekken on stream, let's take Call of Duty.
I feel like I've seen your Negan on stream like recently or something like that. I don't know when it was, but it had to be in like the past week.
Probably was a couple of weeks ago. Last week I played Tekken. I didn't play Negan. I played Yoshi and but that was just one day, and before that, I can't even tell you last time I played Tekken.
Okay, so you're just off it at this point. Are you even excited for Tekken 8, like, or what?
As far as Tekken 8, I won't be happy until like I said, until I see the build for it. Like, hopefully they take out armor. Hopefully they take out rage drives, rage arts. Hopefully they take that out of the game. But like I say, I'm not happy until I see that it's back to Tekken. This is a 2D Tekken. I'm not happy with it.
For sure. Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do. I feel like they're not. I feel like they created Eliza, and there's a chance that she's in the next one or some shit. Like, even if there's no Akuma, no Geese deal, like, they still have Eliza, a character they created or something. I don't know what's gonna happen though. I feel like 2D might be like married to the franchise at this point, but I don't know. I don't know.
And for as well as it's been doing with it, I feel like they're not going to get rid of a lot of the things that you probably don't like about this game.
Yeah,
I believe they're probably going to end up adding meter and having EX moves next. Yeah. I'm like, wow, like y'all trying y'all best to be like Street Fighter, ain't you? It'll be more like Soul Calibur. It'll be more like Soul Calibur now.
I hope not. I mean, that's too far.
I mean, that's what Soul Calibur has now. They have EX moves. They have meter to EX moves.
Yeah, they got the full screen ones though. That's too much for me.
Yeah, the only thing I really feel like they should maybe bring back is having better movement for every character in the game. I don't like that in this game. It feels like you kind of just have to like block. You don't really feel like you're encouraged to move around so much in this game, especially when we're talking about the armor moves, and there's some characters that have homing moves that are also armor moves. Like things like that are just, it makes you almost not even really want to even use a 3D. Don't use this around the forward background, the background. It's just like I don't feel like they encourage moving as much anymore. I feel like they need to bring that back. That's a big part of what Tekken, was. The game had a 3D movement, right. But it's.
And that's one of the number one things that, like I say, that's one of the number one things that I say. This game promotes swinging.
Yeah.
I mean now it's so much bullcrap in the game to where the Koreans and Pakistanians, they play so boring. Like all they do is one swing here and just move around, backdash, run from the fight. They don't fight exciting at all. You honestly can't even blame them because there's so much bull in the game, man. Like you get hit one time, you lose a whole life bar. Some say like you have characters in the game that you don't even have to make a mistake, and they take your whole life bar. Akuma, he'll take your whole life bar. Geese, he will take your whole life bar from not making a mistake.
And then if putting somebody in rage feels like you're kind of losing the advantage of winning the round. That's always been so frustrating to me.
So I have to worry when I put you in rage, you become an attack. You get in an attack frenzy, and I'll be so scared to do anything because I'm trying to wait for you to make a mistake, and I end up getting caught by something, and then you take my whole life bar because you're rage.
Yeah. That's one of.
And then it's like I can't pressure you because you might super me.
An easy example would be, let's say, Paul, right? Paul with a death fist, you're 80% health, you're probably dead. Like if you get touched, you're probably dead. But
Yeah, Paul touch you even without rage.
yeah,
You did.
but I feel like that's what made the game so exciting for people as spectators and why it's been growing as much as it has. But as a player, I'm sure you feel a different way about it. But I don't feel like they're gonna get rid of those things. But we'll see. Just exactly like T7. I'm probably gonna wait until the game's finalized before I have any thoughts on it. But I'm hoping they make the game a little bit more like what it used to be too. But we'll see.
Yeah. So Pokchop, I guess like, what are your future plans? Do you still plan on competing? I know one of the things I remember from that E-League video is that you had a daughter, right? And you're one of the competitors that we've talked to. I think you're the only one of the competitors we've talked to who has kids, right? So is that a huge impact on your ability to grind as much as you used to and stuff like that, or how does that impact?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, now that she's getting older, I mean, it's becoming easier to compete. But at the same time, I'm getting older with that, so it's to a point where I'm looking for retirement because my reflexes is not what it used to be. I have problems with my hands, so that takes into account why I'm, haven't really been playing too much or traveling too much. But yeah, it's getting harder. It's definitely getting harder. But being a parent, as she get older, it becomes easier for me to leave out. But I mean, by that time,
reactions, yeah.
Are you gonna teach her how to play Tekken?
Well, I was in the trying to teach her how to play Street Fighter. She has an arcade stick that I got for her, but she plays Street Fighter.
That's cool.
She's just working on fireballs and stuff like that right now, trying to teach her how to do combos.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude.
So right now so maybe you'll compete in the future if Tekken 8 is good enough. Basically, is what you got as an answer.
I'm definitely going to compete in Tekken. Well, like I say, let me hold up on that. When I see what Tekken 8 is like, if it's something that I like, I would definitely compete.
Sure. All right. So, are you going to locals? I know you talked about 404. I don't know what 404 is. Can you explain what 404 is? That like is that the main local in your area or what?
Now, yeah, that's the main local. We have weeklies for Tekken every Wednesday, and we also have a monthly for esports. We have a esports arena here as well.
Oh yeah.
But it's located in the Woodstock area. That is like 45 minutes outside of Atlanta. I'm trying to get more people to come out to that as well. They have Tekken every Thursday night. So I'm like, it's no excuse for you not to come out to some tournament because it's you have one side of Atlanta. I mean, you have one on one side on the outside of Atlanta, and then you have another one on the outside of Atlanta on two different sides. Like, come on, y'all should be able to come out.
Yeah. Okay, and maybe one of the last things we could talk about is we had Uncle Caps on. He said in the future there's gonna be a Detroit versus Atlanta thing. I don't know if it's gonna happen anytime soon, but what do you think about that? Who's better, Detroit or Atlanta at Tekken?
Man, who do they have that can even compete with us? They don't have nobody. I mean, footwork. He's decent. I believe he's probably one of the best players that they have. He gets trashed. Caps is all mouth, no backup. L Train is the best player that they have. He's definitely going to get toe to pieces. That's all they have.
Did they say like young guys or something like that to like make up for the fact that it's the older guys can't or something like that? Didn't they do something where it's the young guys versus young guys?
Yeah, they're gonna have the new players too.
I don't know what they got. All I know is whoever they got is.
Did he not mention it to you? Because he said he was trying to like make a tournament. I think it was like 5v5. Was it Kadar? I think it was a 5v5. He was trying to do, right?
He named his, but it was none of their older players. He was saying.
Yeah.
He was saying they were gonna tear up Atlanta or some shit.
Man, I'm sure. I think we were supposed to be. They talking to Iceman and to MIC about it. They supposed to be having details because we were supposed to be trying to meet up at a middle ground,
right?
Because they wanted us to come to them, and I'm like, wait a minute, ATL always travels.
Yeah,
we always traveling. But I think we're supposed to be trying to meet up in. I want to say, was it Tennessee? maybe Memphis. I'm not exactly sure which state it was, but it's supposed to be. They're trying to find a venue where it would be a middle ground for.
Okay,
everybody.
so it's not confirmed, but it's in the works. Then that's pretty cool.
That I know of is supposed to be in the works.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ian, you got any questions? Any more questions?
No, I think I'm all set.
Damn, Pokchop, thank you so much, man. I feel like we could have. There's more stuff I'll think of after this shit, but I appreciate you, man. I feel like we got to learn a lot about you, man, and the legend.
No problem. No problem.
Appreciate
I think you're coming on, dude.
No problem. Appreciate y'all.
Oh yeah, one more thing. What's your Twitter and what's your Twitch, so people can watch your Twitter and.
You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch at Pokchop50. And YouTube,
Pokchop50. All right, we'll put the links in the description too. Thank you so much, Pokchop.
No problem. And I appreciate y'all for having me.
Good day, everybody.